my favorite thing to do. Let me call the meeting to order. Welcome to everyone tonight. Time for roll call.
Ms. Parker? Here. Ms. Kinzer? Ms. Hopkins? Mr. Moore is present. Mr. Atkinson? Mr. Sims? Here. Mr. Beaver? Here. Mr. Howell? Here. Ms. Morency? Here. Mr. Dudley? Here. We have 8 members present. We do have a quorum.
Thank you. Now, I believe we got Battle Creek Elementary is here to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Let's all stand, and then we'll have a moment of silence. Thank you. Oh dear, I lost my thing here. I just want you to know I don't like this new program.
What happened? Booted you out?
Yeah. Of course, we're always, as board members, reminded of our mission. The agenda is before you. Is there a motion to accept the agenda as presented? Mr. Sam moved and Mr. Moore seconded. Any discussion? Then we're ready to vote.
Okay, hold on a second.
I don't have any. It doesn't have.
Not yet, yeah.
It hadn't come up yet.
There you go. Open voting.
It's not on mine.
Yeah, it's right here.
Just so you guys know, we have new software and we're hard on at it.
I'm a verbal yes, but I'm not seeing where I'm open.
I'm not seeing it's coming. It's done. I think that motion passes from what I see.
Yes.
Okay. Huh? Did Kristen? Your vote is? Okay. I know it knocked me off just for a minute too, so we'll get through this. Okay, next on the agenda we have a special recognition. I know maybe you know this because you've seen it in the paper, but Jim Penning's moved to Etheridge and is no longer has resigned from the board because he no longer lives in Murray County, and it's a big loss for us. He's been a board member for 11 years. So Jim, if you'll come forward, we'd like to thank you for your service.
Yeah, just a little bit. I dropped your name tag. So, yes, Ms. Kinzer, members of the board, we have in honor of Mr. Pennings a plaque for his years of service to Murray County Public Schools. 11 years, I believe?
Pretty close.
Pretty close, 11 years, as well as his commemorative name tag. He can put it on his mantle, above his fireplace, and have warm memories of all the time that he had here in Murray County Public Schools. Mr. Pennings, thank you for your service, sir. Appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Can I say something?
Yes, please.
I'd just like to thank the people of the 4th District and Murray County for giving me the honor and privilege of serving them. And to the school board, I'd say, keep up the good fight, and just remember, the kids we're working for now make the decisions in your retirement. Thank you all, I appreciate it, I'm gonna miss you.
Thank you, Jim. Stand behind them.
You good, Jim?
Next is, we're recognizing Battle Creek Elementary. When you do the pledge, we want to hear about you too. You've had a big week.
Yes, ma'am. We have had a big week. It's been a big year for Battle Creek Elementary, and I feel the last few weeks our team of 2 has grown exponentially. We've welcomed the rest of our staff on board, and I think what I have to celebrate the most is the spirit of team that they've all brought to the table. Everyone has jumped in and asked, how can I help? What can I do? And we've already seen moments of collaboration in helping us be able to define what our traffic flow needs to look like, what's working, what can we tweak and change. We finished bus duty significantly faster this afternoon than we did on Thursday, so we felt like that was a huge accomplishment. Our families have been wonderful to work with, really trying to help get the kids in and settled and kind of listen to what we need from them in terms of learning that traffic flow pattern, getting their kids in and settled, trusting us to love them and care for them while they're with us during the day, and being willing to say their goodbyes at the door, which is a hard thing to do. So we feel like we've had a lot of good success. Our numbers are higher than our projection. So as we were feeling in the days leading up to the start of school. So we don't know exactly where we're going to end up on our numbers, but we know that we've got more children than we anticipated, and looking forward to bringing some more members to our team.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And plenty of room to bring them in too.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. We welcome them.
That's great. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Next is student recognitions. Dr. Marzak.
At this time, I'd like to call Mr. Pointer to the mic to do introductions for each of these student recognitions. We have some pretty impressive stats coming out here. So, Mr. Pointer, if you would.
And if, as I call your name, if you wouldn't mind just joining me right here, if you don't mind, as I kind of call your name up to the front. The first person I would like to introduce, and what's interesting about these recognitions, these sports recognitions, is that they're not your typical sports that you kind of hear about when you talk about like your basketball, your football, etc. And we have some very, very good, great, and very talented young people in these particular areas and these particular sports who received some national recognition and state recognition that kind of caught our attention over the summer as the school year was getting out. So the first person I would like to come up here and join me is Mount Pleasant High School senior Jamarcus Young. He is a Natural Athlete Strength Association, the 2019 National High School Heavyweight Powerlifting Champion. And if you see him, you see why he is the National Powerlifting Champion. We're going to let you go around the two with board member Mr. David Moore. No, I'm just kidding. Come on back. Come on back. No, come back. Come on back. Do some overhead squats or something. The next person I would like to join me is Brandon Davis. He is an 8th grader from Hampshire Unit School. He was the only state award winner at the school, and he won runner-up in the immediate advanced male and state shoot. He was the first in regional shooting 98 out of 100, and he finished second in the state shooting 97 out of 100. Give him a big round of applause, please. And I didn't mention this earlier because I got caught up in Jamarcus and Dave Moore kind of going toe-to-toe. But Jamarcus is coached by Bronson Bradley, who is here in attendance today, who is also a national power lifter winner himself in the nation. So he deserves a big round of applause, too. He doesn't look like it, but he's strong. And you said what? You're a lightweight, yeah. Moving a lot of weight, though. Braden Davis is coached by Wally Davis. Is Wally here? Wally, there he is. There he is, Coach Wally Davis. And from Santa Fe, we have Carly McGee. She won the SCTP Junior Varsity State Female Skeet and Sporting Clay Champion. She shot a 76 out of 100 in the sporting clays, and she shot a 94 out of 100 in the skeet. Please give Carly McGee a good round of applause. Coach Darrell Brown is there. Coach, is Coach Darrell Brown here? The principal from Santa Fe is here, though. Wave your hand, sir. Mr. Hubble over there. And then also from Santa Fe is John Crutcher. He won the SCTP Junior Varsity State Male Trap Champion. He shot 100 out of 100 in trap. So that put him in the 14-way shoot-off for high overall, and he came in 6th out of 564 for the high overall in the trap division. Big round of applause, please. Congratulations, ladies and gentlemen. We just wanted to honor you today and recognize you today on your many achievements and just let you know how proud we are of you, and we know that you will continue to do great things. Thank you. Everybody get the pictures they want? Good. Thank y'all. Thank y'all.
Oh, thank you. Gosh, that was very impressive. I know Dr. Marzak came out and shot skeet with you guys. How did he do?
How'd I do, Santa Fe? In my shark skin suit, to which they said, "Oh, let's see how this goes."
Okay, next is the creativity selection. Dr. Marzak.
Thank you, ma'am. Let me get my... So as part of our strategic plan, one of the things that you guys tasked me with doing in the springtime is to put out a survey and ask people in the community to give us creative ideas so that we can fund those and can do some innovative things in Maury County Public Schools. So at the August board meeting, that's when we notify and honor these creativity selections. These will be considered for the FY21 budget. So you'll see these suggestions in... I don't know, when do we want to start the budget, Ms. Kinzer? Like around December?
We're going to start
maybe?
next week.
Yeah, we'll see these next week as we bring these to the board. Some of our members couldn't be here tonight, but I still want to call them out because they had some really great ideas to really help us push and innovate in the district. Is Megan Cathy here? Okay, Megan Cathy, her idea was to scale up our efforts to develop and support professional learning communities throughout the district and the district professional learning community as a whole. She stated that professional learning community-style collaboration is the most viable means for school improvement available to us today. If board members and district office stakeholders have not attended a professional learning communities conference and or conducted an introductory book study, that would be a great next step to building shared knowledge at all levels. She also said, "Thank you for welcoming community feedback. What a great idea." So she gave that kudos over to you guys. So want to thank Megan Cathy for her submission and also selection. Is April Murrow here? All right, come on up here, April. Come on. April's suggestion is that she said, I wish that we could have workshops for parents, refresher courses in middle and high school math and science, so parents can help their students with homework. So great idea. So let's thank April Morrow for that.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
Where is Miss Gaynell Howell? Where is she? Oh, look, you said you weren't going to come. Get your phone ready, Mr. Howell. Ms. Howell came up with the idea of have teachers and staff send ideas home to parents or guardians through email, Facebook, Twitter, Dojo, etc., to reinforce what kids are doing in the classroom, such as games, projects, videos, or websites. If they are learning about the Civil War, they can send home local places to visit or do online tours. If they are studying space, they can send the link to see the International Space Center, etc. Thank you very much for your idea, Ms. Howell. We loved it. Thank you. You're very welcome. Is Miss Ellen Kelly here? Oh, that's too bad because we selected two of hers. So Miss Kelly came up with two ideas. She said, first off, I hear that we don't have enough staff to do intervention in small groups. She suggested checking out Vanderbilt Peabody College on peer-assisted learning, or what are called PALS, as an option for RTI2. She also says What Works Clearinghouse says that PALS works. The cost is about $40 for materials. Not sure about the cost of training, but it might be promising for us to use with struggling Tier 1 students who aren't mastering curricular standards. Sometimes kids can be great teachers. She said also for the tutor, teaching others helps reinforce one's own learning. And she also gave the idea of I hear the Boys and Girls Club staffs tutor students in their care after school. Do they get any training on how to tutor reading? Would it be worthwhile to provide them with some literacy training? Aside from helping the students, the secondary benefit is that the tutoring experience might encourage a few of these young adults to go back to school and major in education. So great ideas from Ms. Kelly. Let's give her a round of applause. Is Mandy Giffen here? Did Mandy come on down, Mandy? Outstanding. Mandy also provided two ideas, and we picked up on both of them. The first one is she said peer-to-peer from one school to the other support program, academically and also social and emotional learning. So tying in more of our schools across the district. Great idea. She also suggested a Peers Relieve Pressure program. We need to teach children and adults that it is hard to do the right thing and hard not to fall into peer pressure of pressuring others to do what might not be the best thing. We need our older kids to talk to the younger kids and tell them failure to do the right thing happens to everyone. That is what you learn from that failure that makes you who you are. Let them tell their experiences about how they too have been bullied, peer pressured others, but they are in this leadership program to prove that you can grow from your mistakes. You can forgive and be forgiven even if you mess up again. There are so many adults that need this realization. That was a good one. Bullying happens at all ages and all levels. Let's create a program that meets it at the beginning of the bullying temptation and peer pressure. And as a community, we can fail together and learn and grow together. It's okay to be the bad guy as long as it teaches you to be the good one. So thank you very much, Ms. Giffen. Appreciate it. You're very welcome. Is Miss Brianne Colva here? Brianne. Nope, I thought I saw somebody move. Brianne Colva said, I think it would be fun and creative way to let our kids I think it would be fun and creative way to let our teachers know they're appreciated and see what impact they have on students if we let the seniors pick teacher class superlatives. So that was an idea by Ms. Colvett. Let's give her a round of applause. Jessica Crawford. Come on down, Ms. Crawford. Ms. Crawford submitted the idea. She said, I believe that tobacco cessation education surrounding e-cigarettes and Juuls needs to be a part of the curriculum in middle school and high school. I would love to find a way to have schools participate in the Catch Kids e-cigarette program, which is free to all schools. It only requires principal agreement. Thank you very much, Ms. Crawford. Great idea. You're very welcome. Melinda Holt. Is Melinda here? Melinda's was really cool. She said, let fifth graders that have to attend middle school have recess, allowing them to run and act their age, which is 10 to 11 years old. We thought that was a really good idea. So let's give a big round of applause for Ms. Holt. And last but not least, Ms. Laura Holly. Is Ms. Holly in attendance? Ms. Holly said, to help with teacher attendance rates, a teacher on their worst day is usually better than a sub on their best. Could we possibly do a strive to arrive and offer a big incentive for teacher attendance. Names of those teachers at work every day or each month could get their name in a drawing for the end of the year. A car would be great, but if not, something else. My own children dread days with subs because they often feel that they are wasted days. Just a thought. So thank you very much, Ms. Holly. Great idea. So school board, we'll try to work those into the FY21 budget. You'll see those coming up at the end of the year.
Thank you, Dr. Marzak. Next on the agenda is Cowboy Up. Is it? It's on the agenda. I don't see her here. Huh? Okay. Then we'll move on. Murray County Education Association.
I remembered to turn it on tonight. Good afternoon, Board Chair Kinzer. Thank you for allowing me to speak on behalf of Murray County Education Association. We're just coming off budget season, but ready to start soon. We I don't think tomorrow is soon enough to make sure that our employees are well compensated next school year and our students have the instructional materials they need next school year. I would like to say how much I appreciate the teachers who took their time out over the summer to show up to the county commission meetings and the board meetings. I think it made a difference and it shows how much they value their positions. This year's been kind of started a little bit unreeling for some, but really I haven't had a lot of complaints or anybody calling, just some questions related to the memorandum of understanding because it's been so long since they've had one. They decided to peruse it and there were just questions that were easily answered because we worked really hard together to come up with a good product. And the only other thing is challenges, as with any new student information system comes up, and technology doesn't always work in our favor. So, but other than that, I think the school year has come off great, and I have to give props to my little Santa Fe friends over here who are phenomenal in their sport. Thank you, and I hope you all have a great month, and I look forward to hearing from you about the budget.
You want to be in that meeting, right? Okay.
Oh, yes.
I don't know if all of you know this, but Jennifer's son and parents, right, were in a head-on wreck, really kind of a collision, and spent some time at Vanderbilt right before school started. But like a trooper, he was there the first day of school. Bruises and all. So we were thinking about you in prayer and love, and glad that everything turned out all right. Okay, moving on. No staff reporting. Public delegations, yes. Would you look and see if there are any public? Okay. See, I knew that. He was napping over there, so you never know what I'll say. Okay. We're ready for consent items. Is there a motion to approve the consent items? If there's no motion, we'll discuss every one of them at length. So Tommy moved it. Is there a second? All right. Mr. Howell seconded. Tommy Dudley made the motion, and Mr. Howell seconded the motion. Is there any discussion? Then we're ready to vote. Maybe.
We've had internet problems around the Mid-South today.
We can do a voice vote. Ms. Parker, her power went out. That we've had internet problems.
We've had internet problems around the Mid-South today.
Mr. Moore? Aye. Mr. Sims? Ms. Kinzer votes yes. Mr. Beaver? Mr. Howell? Yes. Ms. Morency? Yes. Mr. Dudley? Yes. And that motion passes. Okay, we're ready then for new business, and new business is the board meeting calendar. You know, we changed the calendar, kind of did a flip around so that our board meetings would be at the first of the month, so that anything that we needed, budget amendments and all, would be sent to the commission in a timely manner, and it'd save us time in that turnaround. But we didn't really consider that Labor Day would fall on the first Monday, and then the first Monday in October would fall at the beginning of fall break. So I think we need to make a decision as what to do, I would propose that we have them second and fourth in August and September. We would have to vote to waive, that policy for those 2 months. In, September and October. Is there any we can't have them on the first, so if we just move it to second and fourth, the second and fourth Mondays in, September and October, and go back to, as our policy states, in November.
So for board members, that would be, the board meeting would be on September the 9th, and the work session would be on September the 23rd. And for October, that would mean that the board meeting is on October the 14th, and the work session is on October the 28th.
It will mean a pretty quick turnaround after the work session to the board meeting in November. We'll just have to work around that, yes.
I think the goal for those 2 months, we may not be able to meet that with the budget amendments then, because that is the night the budget committee meets as well. So if the budget committee approves it that night, and we're having the board meeting, unless one of us can run down here after the budget meeting, I mean, we could kind of make it work, I think, in some scenarios.
You're saying that the budget meeting is the second Monday?
Well, that's true, yeah, the budget
'Cause
meeting
I was
is,
thinking the third, they had to be there for the third Monday when the commission meets.
the budget meetings are second Mondays of the month.
Okay.
But, I mean, I think we'll be okay, 'cause what you will approve at that school board meeting will not make it to full commission till October.
Right.
So it's just, those 2 months will again put us back, and it'll just be
Chair
those 2
Kinzer,
months are
I
gonna be
suggest
back
that
on the old schedule.
unless there's a budget amendment or something that comes up that has to be passed that month, I don't see that it's a big a deal if it's delayed to the next month.
No, I mean, it's
anyway.
just, that's the first meeting we'll be able to bring budget amendments to.
Understood.
That's the only thing, so, but
Yeah,
they'll
unless
just
we have a
to
budget
wait.
amendment that just is critical on time, I don't see that it really causes a
Okay.
problem to delay.
Okay. Okay, no critical budget amendments.
I won't be able to bring any because they wouldn't have passed, you have to pass them on from the school board over to the budget committee and then the full commission. So if the school board doesn't meet till after the budget committee, then it has to go on October's agenda anyway, so.
Okay. So
Those
we'll
2
be
months,
okay either way.
those 2 months, we're pretty much gonna be in the same situation that we've been in the past year, so it's not, I think we'll finally pick up, I guess, in November then. so.
Okay. We just, we change them and then we have to change them and it's, whatever. So is there any other discussion about it? Then we're ready to vote. We're voting to waive the,
Motion. I'll make a motion to adopt the calendar as presented, including the variations in, September and October, to move those to the second and the fourth Mondays, respectively, in those
okay.
months.
I think we've already changed the policy. What you're doing is making a motion to waive the policy.
Strike the first part, keep the second part.
Okay. Is there a second to the motion? Ms. Parker seconds the motion. Any discussion? Then we're ready to vote. Are we gonna? Oh, my goodness, yes. Okay, that motion does pass. Okay, we're ready to, moving on, we're ready for policies, other business, and there are, 4 policies and then some policies to be reviewed. The first policy is, let me get my stuff here. The first policy is the policy 4.301 about interscholastic athletics, and we were adding some language there. Do you wanna discuss all of them, or have a motion individually, or? Okay, Ms. Parker says, moves to approve. Seconded by Mr. Moore. Any discussion? The policy 4.301. Then we're ready to vote. Mr. Dudley and Ms. Morency, okay, that motion does pass. The next one is, the policy on school vehicles as presented. We discussed it at the, work session, making ours more consistent with the, government use policies that the commission uses, the county commission. Any discussion about that? Is there, yes, Ms. Parker?
I guess we had a discussion at the work session about the, transportation of school children, and it looks like it struck through here in the case of transport via school bus. And, I know it was stated that there may be times that, employees may find students that are at home, that have been left there longer, and that they will just drive them home. I have a little bit of a concern about that. I would kind of rather that in the case of transport via school bus stay in there, just because I think we're opening up a huge black hole.
I don't know, when I was teaching, sometimes you just have to do it, I guess, but maybe I never thought about liability for board members to do it, so.
Well, my only concern is considering the lawsuits that we currently have. I don't know if anybody transported in those situations, but,
Mr. Pearman?
Good evening. I was sent forward to you. As far as in county vehicles, I think that the only person who really transports very often in a county vehicle would be me.
Mm-hmm.
And that's usually because someone has been removed from a school bus, and I become their mode of transportation home. We do, if it's a private vehicle, and even in our vehicles, but in a private vehicle, we have a policy where they fill out and turn in their insurance, a driver's license, proof of insurance, that type of thing. And we approve those through our office. In fact, we're sending out a list tomorrow of who's been approved to transport a child. But if it comes specifically to our vehicles, primarily that would usually me, and it's because we've removed them.
so how did you do that before this policy?
We have
Because it looks like this was a change on
Well, we have
the
a
existing
separate policy for private vehicles, both
Okay.
for parents or volunteers, and then also for employees. And that policy we amended, maybe last year, the year before, because we went in and they have to provide a valid driver's license. Used to, they just had to provide insurance. Now they have to do a valid driver's license and fill out a form, that kind of thing. As far as this policy went, I don't think there was ever a preclusion or something in there saying you couldn't take them home in a county vehicle. But that was kind of from day one, you know.
Well, that's where I'm not clear, because it says on here, it's crossed out, and it says school children in the case of transport via school bus.
Yeah.
But that was essentially the only thing that was allowed
I think
for
that
our county vehicles.
I think that conversation kind of died at the work session.
Yeah.
And kind of just moved to something else. But
Right.
as far as, we do use private vehicles, and as far as these vehicles, maintenance isn't carrying kids home, tech's not carrying kids home. It's usually just special situations where we have something like that.
Yeah. And that came from me, special situation. I was leaving a school one time, and there was a mother and her child, and they were sitting there, and I'm like, hey, do you guys need any help? Is there anything I can do for you? They said, well, waiting for a ride, but I can't get a hold of my spouse. I don't know where they're going to be here. So I said, okay, come on, hop in the car. I'll take you home. It's right around the corner. It's not a problem. And so my fear is that if this policy passes with that language in there, I would just have to walk right by them and get in my car and leave them there, because I wouldn't be able to take them home. Because that child was not being transported by school bus. That child is a regular car rider transport. And so what I wanted to do, and what the idea was in the languages here, is to not preclude us from being customer service oriented and helping out those taxpayers in our community. That was the idea.
Well, and I'm not trying to keep y'all from being able to do customer service, but I do think we have SROs at the school and people like that I would almost feel more comfortable, particularly with, if something were to happen with you transporting that mom and that daughter home that evening, they're going to turn around and school Murray County Public Schools. I would
I would
imagine.
say in my case, the only thing, sometimes I can be from Summertown to Spring Hill to Enterprise to
Right.
Southport, and to call an officer sometimes can be a 30 to 35-minute wait to get someone else there. And we have some situations where we have buses that really don't need to leave because students are creating a disruption.
Right.
They don't need to roll with that student on them. So in that case, it would be either I can drive them home or stand on the side of the road with them because the bus needs to go, but we have to wait on if I had to wait on an officer.
But are you under the private vehicle or under the county
Well,
vehicle?
I am in a county vehicle.
So you could do it?
Yeah.
Under here?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. But we do have that separate policy for private vehicle use. And that's primarily when we end up caravanning for athletics or band competitions, especially with small sports, volleyball, softball, those types of things. Anytime a parent or an employee transports a student on behalf of the school system, not I'm taking my neighbor's kid to school, but I'm taking you to a game because you don't have a ride to a game and the coach said who can take someone, we do have a private vehicle policy for that is separate from there.
And this policy is just about
County vehicle.
county vehicles, so. Ms. Morency?
I have a question for Jake. If they transport in a county vehicle and it's, okay under our policy, don't we have insurance to cover that?
As long as it's within the scope of what a school official would normally do, yes, you're gonna be insured.
Okay, thank you.
Is there a motion? Do I hear a motion? Motion by Mr. Moore to approve. Is there a second? Ms. Morency seconded the motion. Any other discussion? Oh, man. Okay. Then we're ready to vote. I'll get there. Okay. That motion does pass. The next policy is, policy 5.403 and policy 6.307. This was provoked, Dr. Marzak brought this because of, maybe you need to speak to it again here.
Yes, ma'am, thank you. So, as part of the 2018 Farm Bill, CBD oil has been made legal for over-the-counter use, and discussions with Ken and Bonnie Banks, owners of American Shaman on Nashville Highway, and Mr. Banks is also a county commissioner. We have had many Murray County Public School staff members expressing their desire to use CBD oil, but fear out of our current policies may put their employment at risk if they were to test positive. So these two recommended changes to policy have been suggested. Mr. Wolliver's run this by our insurance carriers. I put the language in specifically that the insurance carrier said in order to comply with their recommendations, and so I bring this to you for approval.
Motion to approve both policies.
Mr. Moore has made the motion to approve both policies. Is there a second to the motion? Second. Mr. Howell seconds the motion. I see your light first.
Oh.
Or do you have a
I just want to double up to Jake on this. You're comfortable if this satisfies state law at this point? Okay.
Not only state law, but we did run it past the insurer who ran it past their underwriter, and they made some suggestions, but on the whole, they see this as a trend that
Understood.
is going forward.
Okay, I appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Well, I can't support this, and the reason why, I've talked to several of our police officers in the county, some highway patrol, and they feel that this is the first step to legalizing marijuana in the state of Tennessee. And, you know, we're currently saying we don't want vape in our schools. We don't, cigarettes, tobacco, and tobacco's been legal for how long? years and years and years. Vape, it's legal. But, you know, I just have a problem with this.
Mr. Howell?
So, I am law enforcement, and I agree with it. This has nothing to do with impairment. It will not impair someone. Whether or not it is legalizing, the first step to legalizing or not, we really have no authority over that. That's not what we're here to do. This is for a medicinal purpose, and it in no way impairs any judgment or ability by the levels of THC in there. It's passed with a federal law, so really and truly, we're just amending our policies to allow this medical treatment for our students and our teachers.
Mr. Beaver?
Okay, you know, I'm not talking about being impaired or anything like that. I'm saying if you look at what's happened in California and Colorado, all these other places, what's the first step to legalizing pot in their state? And that's what I got problems with.
This is not the first step. The first step is when they start legalizing it, and this is completely a different situation. And once again, whether or not the state of Tennessee legalizes it or not, our approving this policy has no bearing on whether or not they legalize it or not.
Dr. Marzak, your light's on.
Yes, ma'am. Just really quick. So as a point of information for the board, this is something that I've had conversations with multiple lawmakers about. CBD oil is derived from the hemp plant, and hemp and marijuana are two completely different things. In fact, as I was told before the Civil War, Tennessee was a major producer of hemp because it grows faster than trees, and it's also a lot more durable. In fact, I know I was talking to a superintendent in West Tennessee that has actually opened a hemp farm. And she's expecting to reap profits as far as paper goods are concerned, because hemp grows faster than wood. CBD oil is derived from hemp. So as far as impairment, if you drink the entire bottle, from what I understand of CBD oil, you will not register above 0.3% THC. So it has, as Mr. Howell was talking about, it's not really about impairment, it's about medicinal use. And as it says in the rationale, this was part of President Trump's 2018 Farm Bill, so it's been made legal for over-the-counter use across the entire country, just as reference for the board.
Seeing no lights, then we're ready to vote. Okay, we're going to have we'll have a voice vote, and I'm going to start with Mr. Dudley. Ms. Morency? Yes. Mr. Howell? Yes. Ms. Kinzer votes yes. Mr. Sims? Mr. Beaver, excuse me. I already marked you down. You already voted a minute ago. Mr. Beaver? No. Okay. Ms. Kinzer votes yes. Mr. Sims? No. Mr. Moore? Yes. Ms. Parker? That motion does fail. Yes. We have policies to be reviewed. I think the policy to be reviewed is board operations, and I think we received an updated by email for you all to look at as well, didn't we? Didn't we get something? Okay. And so we'll look at that next month. So we're ready now for, my thing over here too. Instructional bids, low bids and purchases under $10,000. First one is a new lease for the central office copiers with R.J. Young. Dr. Woodard,
Yes, ma'am. This is a leasing agreement with R.J. Young that would save us somewhere around $6,000 per year. The reason why we're bringing this to you is because new contracts that are multi-year must come before you and also go to the county commission as per the new financial act. That's why we're bringing this to you.
True.
This is significantly below the bid threshold. We have to bring it to you as a part of the 81 Act.
Okay, is there a motion to approve? Mr. Howell made the motion to approve. There a second? Mr. Sims seconded the motion. Any discussion? Then we're ready to vote.
Roll call vote.
Okay. Ms. Parker? Mr. Moore? Yes. Mr. Sims? Yes. Ms. Kinzer votes aye. Mr. Beaver?
Yes.
Mr. Howell? Ms. Morency? Mr. Dudley? That motion passes. The next one is, motor vehicle fuel. Once again, is there any speaking to this?
I'll speak to that, Madam Chair. This is our fuel bid, which we rebid every 3 years. 3 or 5, I can't remember, every 3 years. This is we bid it last 3 years ago, but we can bid it up to 5 years. This is for the fuel that we put in the first of all, there's a bid from Barber Oil for the fuel we put in our outlying tanks. All the buses that are housed at the bus garage, we fuel through the county tanks, and we pay them for the fuel. But we have fuel delivered we have a tank at Culleoka Unit School, Santa Fe Unit School, Mount Pleasant, Hampshire, and Spring Hill High School. And one at Battle Creek Middle School. So outlying areas for buses to fuel. So the Barber Oil fuel bid is to fill those tanks with diesel. The other is to Edwards Oil, and I'm working with that. I can't pull up the internet, so I can't read the document. I'm sorry. Edwards Oil Company, which is for our fleet vehicles, our white fleet, our maintenance trucks, tech trucks, and those kind of things. And so we have bid this, and these are the low bids that we're recommending to you.
Okay, is there a motion to approve? Mr. Beaver made the motion, seconded by Mr. Sims. Any discussion? All those in favor, let's have a voice vote. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? That motion passes. We're to FYI and 647. Finance, there was no attachment. We went over, the June was not attached to this, but nothing has changed because we went over it at the...
We are talking about the budget earlier. We haven't ratified the last budget yet. It'll get ratified on the 19th.
Right.
So we're actually in the process of getting all the budget pretty much ready to post, but we of course can't post it till it comes back from the state. So we're really hoping we can have it by the end of the month, because we're going to get our packet ready to send to the state, because it's a pretty big packet that they want. They don't just want the budget, they want your cash flows for all your accounts, they want your debt payments for the whole year. They look at, I think it's like a 200-300 page document that we have to send them as soon as the budget gets ratified. That's the next thing we have to do. The budget is published in the newspaper. I think it's supposed to be in there tomorrow is what we were told. It has to be published and then wait for 10 days before it can be ratified. So that's where we are in that process right now. We've started doing our year-end entries because we ended July 31st. Usually we give everybody 30 more days to go ahead and get all their invoices and everything in for year-end. So after this, here on out, if we've got any more entries, and if anybody has any big orders and stuff that they have for products that are just delayed in delivery and stuff, those are going to be budget amendments that we're going to bring to you all that are going to be pulled from the fund balance, since we liquidated all POs on June 30th. So that's kind of where we are right now, is trying to make sure we collect all the information for our department heads to bring all that to y'all in September. And if y'all have any questions, and of course the financials are what they are right now, but as soon as we get all of our entries done, we will have a new set of financials for June 30th. That's when we'll really know how we close the whole year, because we'll have all of our AP and AR entries done.
Will we have that by the work session possibly?
Our goal is to close next Friday, so yes.
Good. Oh, that'd be great.
Yeah,
that'd be great.
We're trying to close the county this week, and then we're pretty much in the process of closing them both together. So close one Friday and close the next one the next Friday.
All right, thank you. And thank you, both of you, for all your work on the budget.
You're welcome.
Appreciate it. Any questions for Ms. Cox? Okay, thank you. Okay, seeing nothing else, Dr. Marzak, it's 6:49. Make note of that, okay. Then I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. All those in favor, second, and all those in favor say aye. All right.